right, cool. And we're recording. Hi, everybody. How's it going? My name is Volsi. We're here with my friend Jacob. It's another episode of Atheist Testimonials where we sit back and we talk and we interview people about how they came to atheism. And this is going to be from a Black perspective since we usually don't get our perspective. Right now, we have Jacob, and I want him to introduce himself. Jacob, how you doing? Tell the people who you are and what you do.
Hi, my name is Jacob Eaton. I'm one of the founders of B.A.A.S.H, Black Atheists and Agnostics United. I'm also a truck driver, hence the wonderful decor and stuff I'm around. Um, been involved in politics for many, many years. Before that, I was a consultant in politics. I was a political consultant. I got into trucking, and I love it. Can still do a little bit of consulting on the side. Got a lot of different projects going right now. Um, and that's it. I mean, and I'm a non-believer. Um, so that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, that's that's a good intro. Man, we definitely gonna go ahead and get into your politics and everything like that, and what you do because I definitely want you to promote that. And if anybody wonders, he's the evil twin. Okay, I'm the good one. He's the evil one. As you can see, it's dark around him, it's light around me. So yeah, he's the evil twin. All right. So
In a second, if you really want that.
yeah, he had the red light. That'll be hilarious. All right, but let's go ahead and get into this, man. Let's go ahead and start off. Let's go ahead and start off like how long have you been a non-believer and what took you down that path initially?
Well, I've actually been a non-believer my entire life.
Oh.
My dad was agnostic. My mom was agnostic too. Um, I grew up in a household like okay, so my dad was an attorney, former military attorney. My mom was a school teacher, former militant, and that's the kind of environment I grew up in. So I grew up around a lot of people that some of the older generation, a lot of people are dead now, but so
Mhm.
a lot of the older generation would know, and they were just like auntie or uncle, or and I didn't realize these people were important in the world. So I grew up like around a lot of socialists, like pretty much
Mhm.
most people around us were socialists, black, white, left, right, didn't matter. Everybody was pretty much on that spectrum.
Gotcha. And that's very very rare because most Black people, yeah, I mean, either they come from the Americas, West Indies, or Africa. We grew up in either a Christian or Muslim household. Like myself, my parents are from the West Indies, so
Hmm.
over there it's highly religious.
Yeah,
Haiti is eighty
got
percent
that.
Catholic.
We got that in common. My mom is her family's from Barbados originally.
Yeah, okay, cool. So you know, so it's like we're a minority within a minority within a minority. So it's always one of those things. And it's very interesting to hear when people say they've been that all their lives. As growing up and being in that environment in a household, but the outside environment seems to be hyper religious. Was that like a culture shock going to school and seeing kids pray and hearing teachers mention God if they did at all? How was that growing up?
Well, it got interesting. I mean, I learned how to fight, and I could fight pretty well. I mean, and the other problem was too is that I'm a socialist.
Mhm.
So I would just like that's not right. Blah 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 blah. I was that kid that just did not know how to keep his mouth shut,
Oh yeah.
and so yeah, he
Yeah.
got to throw hands.
Yeah, I
I
got you.
kind of stayed in the office a lot.
Yeah, because when you go against the grain, they really folks really tend not to like that.
Yeah, just to give you an idea. So it was I don't remember the exact year when this happened, but it was when Ronald Reagan got shot. Like
Mhm.
DC got shot, and the school was all freaked out, and they put the TV in the classroom, and they said President Ronald Reagan got shot, and my elementary school behind blurted out, "Good, I'm glad they got the MFer."
Woo! Boy.
I got sent home that day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. You was gonna get sent home for that. Ooh, cause
yeah, yeah. I was think I was in like maybe fourth grade, third or fourth grade. Yeah.
yeah,
So it's
yeah. Because if I was kind of born after that time, but reading around that time, I know Ronald Reagan was considered like the god at that time. You know what I mean? Everybody loved him. And
yeah.
yeah, you were really against the grain. Like so growing up socialist as a socialist child in the 80s, when
Hmm.
everybody was on their hyper capitalism tip, like were you kind of like hyper vigilant? Did that inform your worldviews of how to interact with people a lot?
I mean, it was a little different too because my pops was an attorney, so it was like
Mm,
it's like so a lot of that stuff was kind of shielded away from me because
mm,
of like where I went to school, where I lived, stuff like that. So there were a few others, but most of my interactions like were like in the neighborhood where it'd be like where we'd argue back and forth and stuff like that. And a lot of them guys, a lot of brothers in that neighborhood, we've been friends ever since. And I'm 51 and those guys, we've been friends all these years. Now, a couple of them might say, "Oh, Jay crazy," but
mm.
we still friends. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you know, yeah.
yeah.
So it's just like that. So,
Gotcha. And and that's really good to hear. Like what I was speaking about with Jonathan the last time was that I always kind of hear stories of people either cutting off friendships or families getting cut off. And I kind
mhm.
of see it differently from with our experience. A lot of times our family don't cut us off unless they're part of like a huge cult, like the Jehovah's Witnesses or something. We don't get cut off from family.
Yeah. Well, we had a few people that, some like cousins and stuff, that went down there to South America. You know what happened there?
Yeah, yeah.
Jim Jump. Um, but other than that, like we were always like, because we had credit in the movements and stuff. We
Hmm.
didn't, we moved. We were able to move differently. Now, something that did happen, it wasn't necessarily about non-belief or anything, but it did happen. It was more so about colorism. Now,
Mm.
my mother, little bitty, high yellow woman, and they wanted to get me into Jack and Jill. So this lady, they tried to recruit me for Jack and Jill. And the woman came to our house, and they had the little mom had the little sandwiches with the crust cut off, the cucumber sandwiches and everything, and they came in the house and they met me and they met my sister, and they said this woman messed up because yes, my mom's a little yellow woman, but what you're not gonna do is do that colorism shit.
Mm.
And what this woman said to her, she's like, we want your son in Jack and Jill, and we'll take your daughter too." And my sister dark skin.
Hmm.
So they were like, "What the?" My mom was like, "What do you mean you'll take my daughter?" Well, because of what? Well, you trying to say because she's dark?
Mm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that didn't go well. And all of a sudden, my mom went from, the attorney's wife,
Mm.
turned from that to the chick from New York.
Yeah, I know how that go. I got family from New York City, so I know. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Even though she's a really truthful, a Trump country girl from down the Maryland Eastern Shore,
Mhm,
but yeah, that didn't
mhm.
go well. That's the one time I seen her literally throw a woman in a dress out the front door, and we had steps, and she
Yeah,
tossed this woman
just
out the
got
door. So
it. Like the Uncle Phil in the jazz. Like, yeah,
yeah,
got it.
tossed this woman
Ooh,
out. Yeah,
oh
yeah, right
man.
into the grass. Yeah. So
So like speaking of Jack and Jill, because I actually have heard of that, and a lot of
mhm,
the elitism and the colorism that goes into that. And
yeah,
being like the growing up in the house of attorneys, your mother was also an attorney or she was like another
no, she
professional?
was, no, she was a math teacher.
math teacher. Yeah. So growing up in a household of a teacher and an attorney and everything like that, a lot of people would kind of assume, you were pretty much well off. Yeah, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, we were
now
all
you're a
there.
truck driver now, so I know they make buku's amount of money, but it doesn't
Yeah,
seem to have like affected a lot of your political stances, has it?
I mean, I'm a democratic socialist. I've always been
Mhm,
a democratic socialist. From like childhood, the books. Like for example, my son
mhm,
and my daughter, they got book lists, and he's a little older now, so he has to read The Wealth of Nations. He has
mhm,
to read. Um, he has to read The Wealth of Nations. He's got to read. Let's see what else he has on that list right now. Wealth of Nations. He has Good Economics for Hard Times. He's got a few other books, like just political books, because, like I tell him, I know you don't like politics, but you don't have to like it or dislike it, because politics will make decisions for you.
mhm.
This system will make decisions for you, whether you like it or not. It'll make decisions for you. If you don't vote, this society will make decisions for you.
Decision for you.
And
Mhm.
everything in your school is somebody's political decision. Everything in
Yeah.
your school. So whether you like it or not, it's still going to be there.
I've
So,
actually, yeah, I've
so go
actually
ahead.
advised. My bad. Yeah, I've actually advised people in my life of the same thing. I've said, because I like politics. I mean, I've always been a political person. I like it, but I've always told people politics can be boring, but pay attention because it affects everything. You don't
Mm-hmm.
like how much money you're getting paid. Trust me, there's a political decision behind why you're not getting that money paid. You know what I'm saying? Is the rent too high? Trust me, there's a political decision on why that rent is high. So like it affects everything. So pay attention. I'm actually reading Black Jacobins and Blood in My Eye
Okay.
by George Jackson. Black Jacobins
Okay.
is really good. Yeah, so I would
Okay.
suggest, yeah, if your son or your daughter, I would suggest Blood in My Eye by George Jackson and Black Jacobins. They're actually really good political
Okay.
books. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
definitely do that. Yeah, because I have them like learn about everything. Like for example, when my pops passed away,
mhm,
we did a memorial service. We didn't do no damn funeral.
gotcha.
And we had a standing rule: if a preacher gets up and speaks, whip his ass. That was in the will. That was actually in the will. And so, like there was the former mayor there, all these different city commissioners. I mean, all these people. And I was explaining to my son, he was sitting there with me. He's like, you know, these this is where you come from. You know, you have to know this stuff. I know you just want to play music and do your science, but you have to know this stuff too. Because this is part of your heritage. This is part of your legacy. You know, you have to know things. You got
No,
to. You have no choice in the matter. so, so
not
I
true.
explain it. Yeah, and for us as black people in this society, too many times we're reactionary,
Mm,
and because we're reactionary, our communities get taken over by white people, Asian people, whoever else, because we are reactionary. We don't understand enough, or we look down upon it, or we'll continue to vote for a politician that really isn't helping us, and because they have a D next to the name, you know, instead of,
correct.
or like for example in this election cycle, I didn't like Biden. I was concerned about Biden becoming Neville Chamberlain.
Hmm.
Let me actually give a little background on that. Neville Chamberlain was the British Prime Minister that during when Hitler's rise to power, he basically made a lot of concessions. And basically, he's considered one of the reasons why
He was able to
Germany,
rise.
yeah, that
Yeah, yeah, I remember
Germany
that.
went fascism. I mean, went
Hmm.
fully fascist and had the problems that we had later on out of World War II. So that was my concern about Biden, that he was too old for the job, that he was out of step politically for what was going on and didn't have the intestinal fortitude, I'm gonna say the nice way, to do what needs to be done. And I hate to be proven right about a lot of it.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, like I'm at the point where because there's an age limit for when you can vote, when you can become president. I think there should be an age limit cutoff as well. To tell you the truth, it should probably be like 70 or 75, maybe even younger than that, maybe 65.
Yeah,
Because
because you're making decisions, and this is true for the all the Democratic leadership at this point. Well, almost all of it is that they're too freaking old. They're making decisions not for themselves. They're making decisions for the future, but a future they won't be in.
it won't be in.
Like
Yeah,
most
exactly.
in 10 years, you know.
Yeah, yeah. In 10 years, a lot of them is gonna be gone. Or they're gonna be too old to remember anything. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of Riley, very, very good, memory guys like who are 90 in their 90s. It's a blessing to be that. So it's like there should be an age cutoff in my opinion, but we kind of segue off into politics, which is fine because I wanted to talk about politics anyway. So as
Okay,
you started the B.A.A.U., which I joined like about a year or two ago.
okay.
Um
I let's be straight about it. Like
yeah.
I was one of the people that started.
One of the
It
people,
wasn't
one of the people.
one of the people that started. Um, you know, that's pretty much how it is. I was one of the people that started.
Okay,
There were
okay.
other
So
people who would have helped too and helped get started and everything.
gotcha. So you're just one of them. Got you. All right, no, that's cool. What were y'all's motivations in starting it? We are trying to foster a community of people like this because when I first came out, when I first realized I was an atheist, I was like, I need to
Uh,
find a community because I was alone out there for like a year. So I'm like,
do you want the real, or you want the like the cleaned up version?
oh, I want the real. We gonna get real. Yeah. I want the real.
Okay, the real. Okay, so the reason why a lot of us were in BN, Black non-believers, and we were in BA, Black Atheists,
Mhm.
and those two groups were around. I had seen them for years. Like I think at the time I had one of my cousins' besties was in one of those groups, and so I was like, I looked at it and I was like, it's the problem I had with Black atheists, and we'll deal with BN separately. But the problem I had with Black atheists is that it had like an orthodoxy, like you had to be an atheist. You could not be an agnostic, and if you're agnostic, there was something wrong with you.
Mhm.
It was very American centric. It had white people from these other atheist groups coming in there and trying to dictate to black people.
Mhm.
It had this. It just had a lot of things going on there. um, it had a type of feminism in the group that pretty much everything wrong in the black society was the man's fault. We were
Mhm.
looking around like, no, this is not true. This is kind of crazy, if you ask me. This is like a religion. It's like a cultish thing. So, you know, me being me, the rebel rouser, the shit talker, and troublemaker, I finally just starting some trash, in there, just like, going after them, like just
Mhm.
starting with them, like going in on them to show their hypocrisy. And then there was a situation like because they back then they had a guy in there that was um, basically the type of dude you've seen these guys before, the type of dude that will tell a woman whatever they need to hear in order so that he could get some play out of them. And it came out, and the group was protecting him. Well, the leadership in the group was protecting this guy because he's funny or he goes along with their stuff. And it came out that he was seeing a whole bunch of the women in the group and was playing these types of games with a whole bunch of people. So
Dirty Mackin.
yeah, yeah, and that caused the exodus from there. And by this time, we'd set up B.A.A.U. And so, like that first week, we went from about the 7 or 8 of us that set up B.A.A.U. to north of a few hundred, and then a few months go by, then we're at 1,000, and then 6 months goes by, we're at 2,000.
Mhm.
And then we just start getting bigger than all the other black atheist groups that are out there. And now look up 10 years later, and I really don't actively to recruit like I used to. We're huge. It's a lot of people in it. And also another thing we did too, and this was my policy that I wanted to allow Africans and people of the diaspora into the group, because a lot of times people didn't want to see people from the diaspora in our spaces, because they're they different. A lot of them are agnostic. They have a different sense about things, and that's fine with me. I mean, I kind of like keep it wide open. Yeah, we have some few conservatives in there. Yeah, we have some few hoteps in there. We have a little bit of everybody, but we all have in common our non-belief. I don't want an orthodoxy like it's a church or something, like these are the tenets of non-belief. No,
Mhm.
hell no. I just want people to commune with each other and learn something from one another, because everyone has a point of view. Everybody's done things a different way, and everyone's come to this a different way. So that's just what I think the soul of BAAU is. You
Gotcha.
know.
Can I offer a little perspective, because I came into these groups like way after that schism happened. I didn't even know it was there until I found out about it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I'm actually in both right now. There were times where I didn't realize these are two separate groups because I've seen people in both groups.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's when I started to think, why are these groups separate? I thought you guys just created groups at separate times and you guys just cross
Black
over a lot. Right, right.
No, it was a big schism back then. I mean, it's a lot of things have calmed down. I'm
Mhm.
leaving out some of the stuff like
Got
back in the day they used to like try to come for me and stuff like that.
you.
But I came from the world of politics. I'm better than that than you. So
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah,
so it
I
was
got you. So I've been in BA right now, and I think
uh,
I have seen some shades of what you're saying, where some
yeah, it's
users
changed
do.
a lot. No, from my
Yeah,
understanding, it's changed a lot. From my understanding, it's changed a lot. That it's not as bad as it used to be. You know.
yeah, yeah. Because I did see I did have a few run-ins with a few users who are like that, where everything in the community was the black man's fault. I've always felt that perspective is still flawed, because yeah, patriarchy is a problem, but simply saying that everything is the black man's fault, it doesn't really get anywhere. It doesn't really solve the issues, and it ignores systemic problems. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and
Well, from
I get where they're coming from.
my background, would say that's counter-revolutionary.
Right.
So,
Right, exactly, exactly. Okay, so that's how BAU was created. I got you. So that was the motivation. Let me
yeah.
ask, because I've always asked every atheist this. We know
hmm
BN is more of the activist group, and actually, I think I asked in BAU, like, have you ever wanted to get into activism? But you told me that there was issues with BN before, so you kind of backed away from that. What was going
Yeah.
on with BN?
I just wasn't gonna fool with it.
Gotcha.
I have no problem with activism. We do activism too, but we do it a little differently. Like if you go back and look at during the during the George Floyd insurrection, if you want to call it that, we were doing a lot, but we would do it like, okay, this person's in this city, we're going to talk to them, we're going to get them to work on this, that, and the other. We're going to give them some tips and tricks of how to help them grow and help them how to get what they want to get to done, get their objectives, understand what their objectives are, understand who to deal with and who not to deal with in your communities. So that's how that's how we work, and that's how I like to work. I like to work behind the scenes. I don't have to be out front. I like to work behind the scenes. I like to say I'm the man in the upper room. That
Gotcha.
the master in the attic. That's
Yeah.
the way I like to work. Um, and as far as like activism for the sake of just non-belief,
Mhm.
um, really, what's the point in that?
Mhm.
Really, I mean, yeah,
Okay, I got you.
people of color. What's the end? How is that going to help us as Black people get to where we need to go?
Okay.
Is it going to alienate? other black people that may be attracted to our philosophies and may be attracted to the types of things that we do positively, but you're going to alienate them because they believe in an invisible sky daddy? No,
Hmm.
that's not the way you operate. You know,
Okay.
it's just not the way you operate. And 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 then their proximity to the white atheist groups, I don't want anything to do with the white atheist groups. I really don't. I've kept us away from the white atheist groups from when we started coming up on their radar years ago. We don't fool with them because those groups have a lot of, libertarians in those groups. There are a lot of racists in those groups. They look for a token. I'm not nobody's fucking token. We're not anybody's fucking token. We do our own thing. We're going to stay separate from you. Now, there may be something that we have common cause on, like if Trump gets in office and these right wingers take over, then we'll have common cause. And then we'll work with you. But until that point, what do we have in common with you? I don't need your money. I
Hmm.
have my own. This group, if we want to do something, I'll fund it. I'll pay it out of my pocket.
Yeah,
So,
true.
no.
I understand that. When I do like atheist panels on like TikTok and stuff like that, that question actually did come up for me, to me from a Christian girl. She asked me, "What's my entire goal here, just to get clicks and money?" And I told her my entire goal here is for me to be normalized because we don't really exist like that. People don't actually like. I've actually ran into people who told me, "Oh, you're atheist, but you're black." I've actually ran into that before. So it's like that's when I realized we're not normal in society. So my goal was usually to normalize this. What do you think?
There are more of us than you think.
Right.
Okay, think of
There is.
it like this from the political aspect of it. Okay, so the reason why a lot of times democratic outreach efforts to black communities don't work because they go immediately, they think that we're all churchy and they go to the church. More than 70% of us don't go to church.
Hmm.
And when you talk to these people, you find out, okay, they'll call themselves spiritual, but they're really just agnostic. They
They're
don't know.
agnostic. Exactly.
So a good portion of us are agnostic, but they don't talk about it because they think that everybody else is.
Right. 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 So
Like,
that's why I want to build these type of platforms and be in your type of group so people know, hey, there's more of us out here. There's a community out here. It's okay to talk and
yeah,
explore these issues.
yeah, and that
Yeah.
actually, when you speak it to me, I actually hear it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I hear the logic in it.
No, no,
Um,
I do get you though. There are people who want to just argue with Christians. Like
yeah,
that's a fun thing to do, but that's not when I think of activism, that's not really my thing. I'm more of on a critical thinking and fostering a community and having dialogue with people who because at the end of the day, like I feel you, more than 70% of us probably don't go to church, but the church is still probably the most powerful institution the black people have. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I kind of want to have those hard discussions over the effects of the church, where are they going, and the effects of the ideology that we tend to have that comes out of the church. You see what I'm
yeah.
saying? And challenge that. But I do agree with you though. Like promoting it
I
just
mean,
for the sense of don't believe is ridiculous.
yeah. See, I look at the church as something that's going to become more and more irrelevant as time goes on. So now, what we can do is create our more secular institutions,
Right.
like clubs, like the neighborhood improvement club or the black improvement club or whatever. I don't,
Mhm.
whatever the name is, I don't care. But have it be the new center of the community. Have that be the new center of the community.
Mhm.
Something that's secular that we can all get involved in, because I think it's important because there's definitely a big hole, and
Right. Right.
and somebody has to teach people, political IQ. Someone has to teach people economic IQ. Someone has to teach some people ethics and understanding ethics
Yeah,
because
and
the biblical
emotional. Yeah, and
is
emotional like you. Like this people got to teach emotional intelligence. We got to teach them. Yeah,
yeah,
and
because it's crazy out here.
yeah, and you brought up the fact that you kind of keep us separate from like the white groups, and the thing is, I really started to understand that when I saw the first schism of the ACA. No diss to the ACA, you know what I'm saying? But when I first saw that schism and I was in those groups and I saw those, like just like you said, a lot of libertarians, a lot of racist comments. And then I
Mm-hmm,
joined the Facebook group, the big one, the Atheist versus Christian Facebook group. When I joined that, and
mm-hmm,
a lot of Nigerians are Christian. I get that, and
yeah,
Christians are gonna make ridiculous arguments. I get that. But when I joined that atheist versus Christian group, and a lot of the people who joined were Nigerian Christians, they weren't responding to those people as your argument is ridiculous because this is because your Christianity is telling you this, that, and the third. They were
mm-hmm,
saying you're ridiculous because you are Nigerian. That
mm-hmm.
underlying racism is what I became really uncomfortable with
Yeah, if
towards
I
them.
saw that, I probably would have lit their asses up. Yeah,
Yeah,
if I saw something like that, I don't appreciate that. Hell, we got some Nigerians that are in the group. We got quite a few Nigerians. Like I think South Africa's number one, Nigeria's number two, Ghana's number three,
right,
as
right.
far as membership. Now a lot of them don't talk, and I'm cool with that. That's fine. But they listen and they looking. I can see on look at the who's looking at the posts. They're looking.
Exactly. But yeah, when you mentioned that being separate from the larger white groups, I get it. I mean, I completely
Yeah,
understand it. And I'm not even gonna fight back against it because my Discord, that was the number one rule. This is a black only space, you know.
yeah.
So that was the
That's
number one rule. And
now. We do have some Native Americans. We do have some, like some one guy that was can't ask to come in the group because he's Pakistani. He couldn't talk to nobody. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah,
I come. Yeah, come on, that.
yeah, you'll die. So yeah, come on,
Yeah,
come on over
come
here.
on in because if you talk to anybody else in your area, it's gonna be a problem for you. So come on in.
Yeah, even Nigeria. Look, you know, we're gonna protect you as much as we can. So if you don't want to talk, hey, that's fine. You want to just look at stuff? That's fine. That's cool. I understand. You know.
Gotcha. And the thing is like because I subscribe to a lot of atheist content on YouTube, and it's
Hmm.
mostly white, of course, it's mostly white, but
Yeah.
I remember watching videos on, like atheist denomination. It's not denominations, but it's like, organizations and positions
Yeah.
and like atheist culture and stuff like that. So when I started
Mm-hmm.
watching those videos, I started to notice one thing. They really don't mention us at all. And that's when I started to realize that, our position, black non-religious people, we got our own thing going on. We really are separate from them already because they don't seem to realize that we have a whole different perspective of how they do things, and I learned that
Like
on TikTok. My bad, go ahead.
like my dad used to say. He said like this. He was like, you know, and he knew his Bible and all this stuff. Like my mom was a closet. I mean, I'm sorry, my grandmother was like a closeted non-believer because what she was teaching her kids.
Hmm.
And even though we built the church in Laurel, Mississippi, that everybody, a lot of black people went, well, a lot of black people went to, the AME church, we built it or paid to get it. Right? We built it and paid to get it built. So that's another story. But what happened was like they would say this. He would say this. He's like, if there was a God, and if you look at the history of the last since Christianity was founded, it's pretty obvious that God doesn't give a damn about black, brown, or yellow people. So why should we worship that God? And that's what he would say. It's pretty obvious that God doesn't give a damn about black, brown, and yellow people. So why?
Why?
So you don't come out of like some intellectual thing. I mean, some of us do. Some
Mhm.
of us came out of the socialist traditions, of trying to free us from oppressors. But many of us come out of that tradition of like, this shit doesn't make no sense. And if you look at the history of it, It ain't ever made no damn sense.
Never know that was yeah.
Like Christianity, actually Abrahamic religions, period, have not worked out for black, brown, and yellow people. Period. Haven't
Period.
worked out. You know, I mean Judaism, eh, not so much. Christianity, not so much. Islam, not so
Not
much.
so much.
Yeah.
And you know the thing is, I've said the exact same thing because you know we live in the West, so Christianity is gonna affect us the most. But
Mm-hmm.
when people try to tell me, oh, how come you're not talking about Judaism or Islam? I'm like, number one, it doesn't affect us, but number two, I don't think those are good for us either. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I've described them as colonizer religions. You know, people got mad at me for that. Y'all can be mad at me all y'all want. They're colonizer religions, basically at the end of the day. They spread like Christianity got to Africa, got to Ethiopia, of course, but Islam spread because of slavery, and Christianity spread to the sub-Saharan Africa through slavery. You know, so at the end of the day, they're colonizer religions. They don't work for us. And you know, I don't have an issue with people being religious. Like you know, my parents are Haitian, so I've seen people be practice voodoo and Ife tradition and things like that. My girl is Jamaican and she's seen Obia and stuff like that. I've seen Santeria from Black Cubans and stuff like that. So it's like I don't mind any of that.
It's all the same stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all
I just,
yeah. I don't mind any of that stuff because it's not, as far as I've
yeah.
seen, it's not oppressive. You know.
Now I'll be like this though. It's funny. I don't know why, but we have a lot of people in the community that are also into that stuff too. So
Mhm.
you know, it's like
Yeah,
whatever.
we've kept it. we've kept as I've even told people this before. I'm like, yo, where do y'all think the Holy Ghost stuff comes from? That does not come from white folks. That came from us. You know, what I mean, there's a reason why they do that. You know, it came
Yeah.
from black Southern churches, and that was a tradition that they carried over from Africa. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's always been a thing. You know,
The
so
meditative treatments. I mean, hell, with the first people, the Quaison and stuff like that, they do that. You know, they enter a meditative state. That's mankind has been had that little life hack for over 100,000 years. You
yeah,
know, that's something that we do. So
yeah,
it's just fun.
I got you. All right, so I know you gotta get back on the road. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap it up. I do have one more question for you because it
Go for
seems
it.
you, yeah, it seems you fostered personally a community around you and everything like that. So being non-religious never affected your like personal or family or dating life because you have children.
It's affected my dating life.
It affected dating life. Okay.
It affected my dating life. Personal life too, to a lesser extent, but dating life definitely. Like I've gotten to the point now that I don't fuck with Christians. I just don't date them. Nope, not gonna happen. Never again. After my ex-wife, never again.
Never again.
Never again will I do that. Never again.
Not
I,
doing it.
I,
It's done. It's done.
I'm done. I'm so done. I should have been done 20 years ago, but no, I'm trying to beat my head against that wall because I was like everybody else. We thought, oh, there's not a lot of us out here. No, there's a shit ton of us. In fact, what's crazy, once I created the group, started recruiting for it, going through my friends list and stuff like that, I found out about at least a good 6 or 7 of my exes were also atheists.
Oh my god.
It's the whole time, but they hid it from me because they didn't want, you
Hey,
know,
what you know? Like, why you
like what the fuck? Like one, I was like shout out to Donna. Donna was like, I thought you were religious because you used to occasionally go to church. I was like, I was going to church because of this person or that person. I wasn't really there. I mean, what the hell? You heard my tirade. She was like, no, I thought you were religious. Yeah, I've always been an atheist.
Yeah. Didn't
Type
find
shit.
out until later. Like, damn, could have worked something out.
Yeah, we went a roll. Yeah, we're friends. We're in the right spot. Just friends. She's
Gotcha,
happily
gotcha,
married.
gotcha.
Happy married. Yeah, nah, buddy. Uh-uh.
Gotcha. No, all right, yeah, that's cool because that is something that I've been through before as well. It did affect me because it's always like, okay, one thing that I've always disliked when I started running into the dating scene is that
Hmm.
a lot of them would tell me we can't do anything serious, but you could come by every Saturday and hit it though. But it's like at the end of the day, as a young man, of course I'm gonna be like, all right, cool. But it did get
Uh-huh.
to a point where I'm like, I actually want companionship. You don't just
Mhm.
use me for my body, because it's
Man.
like that's what I started getting tired of, and luckily,
See,
just like you concluded, I'm just not gonna mess with them anymore.
I had the opposite experience. My experience was they wanted to like kind of like you know kind of
Change you.
marry me. Shit. Yeah, they. I remember this one girl. I'm not gonna say her name. She knows who she is. If she ever sees this, she literally tried to put it on me so good that to make me become religious. Because it worked with the Muslim dude. She thought it was gonna work on me too.
Hmm.
And I ain't built that way. I'm sorry.
I build that way.
I'm just
Hey,
not. But you can always rain on a brother. Yeah,
mhm,
she rained on a brother. I was happy about that, but
yeah.
that won't work. Yeah, that wasn't gonna work.
You know what I call that? Because I've been through something similar. You know what I call that? Booty
But
gospel. That's booty
hey,
gospel. I've always said.
because I get to act out all the perversions and do all the wild shit I like to do, hey, fine, okay, cool. But you're gonna be heartbroken in the end if you expect me to jump that way, or you're gonna end
Exactly.
up down to me. So that's how
Exactly.
that's.
That's what I call. I say, hey, that's booty gospel. They put the booty on you just for you to go ahead and change. They use that to get you
Mhm.
in. Like it don't work. It don't work. It's hard to go back to the fairy tale once you know that it's just a story. It's
Yeah,
hard. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And I just never could understand it. Like I remember, like, cause now one thing my family did do, they kind of wanted you to have experiences and stuff. So I've been to a synagogue, I've been to a church, I went to the little Bible study thing, and they were telling that story about what's it Genesis and stuff, and I was like, this shit don't make no sense. How did that make some sense? And they'll talk about Exodus, and I'm like, make this shit make some sense. How the hell the river dam split? I mean, what this is magical? What the hell? But also had background in Egyptian stuff. How did they go to a place that's their land, but there were already other people in that land, and that whole land at that period of time was Egyptian territory. So make that make sense to
I
me.
mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, make that make sense. And the place was already called Palestine, so
It
what
makes sense.
makes sense? Yeah, make it make sense.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
I'm not. That's why I've always my parents and my sisters have always said, they're gonna wait for me to come back, and I'm like, you're gonna be waiting for a long time, buddy, because once I know something is most likely not true, it's gonna be hard for me to believe it again. So
yeah,
that's what I've always said. Let me
yeah.
ask
I mean,
you.
go ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead and finish. I was gonna ask
Oh,
you
you
one last question.
finished. I was just talking shit.
All right, cool, cool. All right, so one last question. All right, so um, as far as black atheists and agnostics goes and non-religious people, um, personally, I do think a lot of us need to be a little bit more vocal. I mean, challenging some systems like especially religious thought in our society, especially since anti-science has become rampant amongst black people. But I also agree with fostering a community because a safe space because that's important. A lot of people see those as separate, but I see them we can do walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah.
What do you think that as black atheists and agnostics we should do, like foster a community first or get more into activism or both at
Okay.
the same time, walk and chew gum? What will you be your opinion?
Okay. Now I'm speaking as the leader of B.A.A.U.
Gotcha.
And I'm speaking from a place of I want our members to be safe.
Hmm.
Um, I already know if Trump becomes president, I gotta leave the country. I'm out. I'm sorry. I'm out. I'm not sticking around for the shit show. I got my kids. I got my family. I gotta protect. But because of that, and knowing that fascism is like knocking at that door,
Hmm.
and if some things go any more sideways than they've already gone, we can end up with a fascist government
Hmm.
and a fascist religious government.
Hmm.
So right now, I want us as collectively, and I'm going to start talking about this in the group more. Collectively, I want us to start, actively making sure that guy don't get back in office. but then also thinking about the future of like, okay, so how are we going to force this guy that's in office now to do the things that we need them to do, and
Mm-hmm.
how to keep that fascist element out for and knock it out forever. Okay, that requires education. That requires active, requires people to become activists, but do it in a smart way. I don't want people out here catching charges for the sake of catching charges. You
Gotcha.
know, I don't want people having to deal with the stuff that Zeb Halls had to deal with. Okay, you've heard that about him.
Yeah, I have.
You know, oh, okay, yeah. I don't want people having to deal with that type of stuff in their life. Okay, so that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, and I'm gonna speak out about it more because I'm getting concerned, and I mean, I'm concerned that there's some people that were like, Biden's trash, the Republicans are trash. I'm just gonna walk away from all of it. Well, if we walk away from all of it, that's what the right wing wants us to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Uncle Toms want us to do. That's what Uncle Clarence wants us to do. That's
Mm-hmm.
what all these KKK motherfuckers want us to do because they're gonna go and come out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're going to come out.
They are.
So I don't like the situation. I'm pissed off about Palestine. I'm very pissed off. I'm very disappointed and pissed off about what's going on over there. You know, that's another example of a religious nut job government.
Right.
That's what we get here. You know, I don't want to see that, and also I don't want our people to get hurt. So, I mean, I want to see activism. I want to see smart activism. I want to see
Right.
people volunteering to go out in these communities and talk to people. Just talk to them. You don't have to talk about non-belief because if you really want to bring a person to non-belief, this is what you do. You do good acts in your community. You let people see who you are as a good person. You let people see that you stand for justice. Then when they come and ask you or ask them a little bit more about you, then you drop that bomb on them. Then you drop that bomb on them, and they're gonna ask you some more questions. You don't have to. You just soft touch it.
Mm-hmm.
I brought pastors into the group that are now non-believers. They still being a pastor, but hey, that's how they make money.
I know how
You
that
know.
go.
hmm
Yeah, man.
So
That's yeah. That's very poignant, man. And I agree with that. I am concerned about where this country's going, and just like you said, we got to be active. We got to be smart. Now, a
hmm
few weeks ago, I did say that I don't think Biden is gonna win because people are so apathetic right now and pissed off about Palestine that I'm not sure. I it's hard for me to see him winning, but I'm still gonna try to get
I
him
think
in. You know what I'm saying it's
that
just
war's gonna be over within 2 weeks.
yeah, yeah.
Mark my word, it's gonna be over in 2 weeks
It's gonna be over in 2 weeks.
because because that what that message they sent him in Michigan,
Mhm.
it sunk in. It
It's
sunk
sunk in.
in.
Gotcha. Okay, so hopefully that ends. You know what I mean? But like, and galvanizing the base. We do got to do that because they've been so apathetic so far. So you're correct. You know, what I mean, I'm concerned
I mean,
about that. Yeah.
that's corporate Democrats. That's corporate Democrat. The Democratic Party is the only party I've ever been in. I used to be an executive officer in the Democratic Party. I used to be district rep for District 5 in Leon County. So I was a member of the Democratic Party. And Democrats are very effective at taking out progressives, but they won't touch a fucking Republican. Corporate Dems, I should say.
Mm.
And the other thing about the Democratic Party is that um, they're a bunch of how should we say it? Uh, wussies, but substitute that with P.
Bro, oh
Okay.
my god,
Yeah. Separate.
I've noticed
So
that, man. Oh my god.
so, and I think the problem is that who they select to run for office and who they select for positions. A lot of times it's the Ivy League kid. Ivy League kid. He 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 got his position because he stayed away from all kinds of other bad stuff and things like that.
Mm.
He walked the straight and narrow. He didn't speak out too much. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. He was the nerd in class. We have too
Exactly.
many nerds instead of two. Or like back in the day, they had union organizers. They had people who were like in them streets.
Mm-hmm.
We nowadays we don't have those people in the party, or those people are kind of marginalized and pushed to the side. So because we have too many wussies,
Weenie
substitute
Hut
P.
Juniors. Too many Weenie Hut Juniors. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. You know, because we have too many people of that ilk in the
Mm-hmm.
party, that's why you're not seeing stuff that should have been done. Like I knew exactly how to handle these capitalist insurgents. These people would not be walking around free right now.
They
I'd have
want.
made them a special little camp, put them all in it. You know, that's how you treat people who want to go against the government like that. But meanwhile, just a few months before that, you had some paraplegics go up in the Capitol and protest. What happened to them? They got their asses beat
Yeah.
from the Capitol Police.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember when I was at the Million Man March. They had helicopters overhead. They had National Guard all over the place. They had people with guns up on the Capitol, and we were just there peacefully. Million black men, over a million black men out there. But for some people who are actually trying to overthrow the government, nothing,
Nothing.
nothing, nothing. Just let that sink in. Nothing.
Yeah.
And then you have it's taking this long to just arrest a fraction of those folks that were down there. We had a person in B.A.A.U. that was on the ground there. I was getting play-by-play updates about what was going on down there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
mad as hell. I was very angry that day. You know that was happening and that nothing. You know, well, we're gonna wait from orders. Wait for orders. Fix bayonets and take these motherfuckers out. Oh, I'm sorry, cuss. I don't know if you have a
Yeah, I
cussing.
don't care about that shit. But yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they should have been all arrested for sedition, in my opinion. But
Yeah. And then
no,
when Biden comes into office and he's like, well, we don't want to look like a third world nation. Bitch, we already look like a third world
no war
nation.
nation.
That failed long ago. You know, we had Trump. We had Bush before that. That ship is sailed. That ship is gone.
Yeah, man.
You know. And so that's where I'm at about, as far as this nation. That's why I'm looking other places like just in case
Mm-hmm.
I'm out. I'm gone. Hmm We'll be doing this, and I'll be in somewhere in Africa, or somewhere in the south of France or Spain or something. So,
I can't even blame you. I told my lady we might be moving to Virgin Islands. You never know. You know, at least get off
yeah,
the mainland. I don't.
yeah, get
Yeah, get off the mainland. That's what I would do. You know.
yeah, get up the mainland, something, because
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
it don't
Mhm.
good. And what really gets me is anybody that's read Project 2025 and think that's not serious.
It's
Them
serious.
people serious as cancer.
Mhm.
Have you read it?
Yeah, I read some of it. Yeah, it's serious.
Oh man,
They want
oh
that.
man, they want that, yeah, because
Mhm.
they know. And that's another thing I'm not too worried about, like the non-belief thing. The more these people show up, the more these religious nut jobs show up, the more people leave religion.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
and they know it. They know they're getting weaker. They know they're getting less powerful. They know that more than half the country doesn't agree with what they're doing. They don't agree with them. That's why they're trying to gerrymander the vote in certain places. They know they're about to lose this state, Texas, because of demographics, just simply demographics. That's
Demographics
why
are
they
elite.
try to. That's why they're trying to basically outlaw abortion because they think they're going to get more little white babies.
Mhm.
That's what that's about. But what they don't know, Becky Sue was fucking a nigga.
Yeah. No, true. True.
Hmm
Becky
Yeah,
Sue is with Lamar, and Tyler Jayton is with Tamika. So it's That's what's going on.
Yeah, that's what's going on. So, you know, I mean, it's. I mean, I met a Ukrainian girl a couple days ago. She's like, I do not like American white men. They are horrible. They're stupid and they're self-important. I don't
So
date them.
self-important.
It was wild as shit. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, they come around here and they have a whole different experience.
Yeah, they have a
So,
whole different experience. Like, hell, I'd hate to be a white man right now because
you
you getting
know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, 'cause they ain't it right now. They ain't it. So,
ain't it. The only thing you gonna get is a confused Negro, like a Candace or something. That's about it. You know, that's about
gotcha.
it.
Yeah,
Good luck with that.
yeah, man.
But
All right, but Jacob, I really appreciate you being on. We just taking an hour of your time to come and speak to me. I do really appreciate it, and I hope we
okay,
can do more work together. You know what I mean? I'm going
absolutely.
to, yeah. The
Well,
moment
you
I,
made
I
me things. You made me think about some things that need to be done. And once I get this one of my projects done, I'll talk about it more in a few weeks, well, a few months after I get everything done. Then I'll come back to you about another project. And this project will help our community. So
gotcha. Gotcha. All right, bro. And I really appreciate it. And we'll definitely talk again. Let me know what that project is. And
okay,
if
I
you
said,
like to
well,
gotcha. And if you like to join the Discord, go ahead and join it. Unless you're already in there. You already joined the Discord, right?
I think so. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, I know you got
I'm
shit
a
going on.
I'm a luddite. I don't know.
No, no problem. I know you got shit going on. So there's no problems.
All right,
But
but I
we'll
definitely
definitely talk
will.
more.
Okay,
Got
definitely, no doubt. All right,
got you.
my man.
Peace out, brother.
All right.
Thank you.